Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is no stranger to the show, although he couldn't be here in person. That's because he's on the road. It's Scott Girard, Fitchburg Star. Scott, how you doing out there?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing today?
It's Friday. I can't complain. I really can't. It's been a busy week, and you know, it's just busy. That's all I can
Yeah,
say.
ready for the weekend.
I am ready for the weekend, and it's Father's Day weekend. I mean, that's come on. It's just fun times, right? So
Absolutely.
it's gonna be good times. Well, we had a council meeting that was canceled, so we've got a lot to get to. So I'm gonna take up no more of our introduction here, and we'll start off with you talking about the TIDs tax incremental, or you just go with it. You go.
Tax increment district. Yes, a very exciting topic, everyone's favorite. It's a pretty big deal though for the city. So what happened Tuesday night was the city council approved creating the boundaries for a new tax increment financing district. And to keep it as brief as I can, it's really just a way that cities can help uh, developers provide some taxpayer funding up front to help development get um, kind of going. And then down the line, after a certain number of years, when taxes are deferred, that development will come onto the property roll and hopefully provide a payback to the city for its initial investment, is kind of the goal. And so in this case, this tax increment district is going to help fund an expansion for Promega, major company here in Fitchburg, and certainly one that's important to the city. And so they're going to be building, or they're planning on building a new research and development facility, along with some new parking and a central utility plant. And along with the improvements to their company would be some roadway improvements in the area. For example, extending Fahey Glen from East Sherrill Parkway roundabout to Lacey Road, reconstructing that roundabout, adding some traffic calming improvements along East Sherrill Parkway. So that investment, which could be up to about $14.8 million, will help fund those as well as Promega's project. According to the project plan, the expansion itself is going to cost a total of 190 million for the company. So this would be 14.8 million of that money. So there's still some steps left in the process before it's all finalized, but this was a major step for them to approve the boundaries.
Absolutely, it's a huge investment into the city, and the Feynman Center is already beautiful, and this is going to be a huge development project. So, uh, pretty cool to see that moving forward.
Absolutely.
Thought I lost you there for a second. All right, moving on to CIP. Our
Yes.
CIP process, it's in the works, and we had a public hearing.
Yes. So the first public hearing of the capital improvement plan process. So the CIP is a planning document. Used to be 5 years, now it's 10 years, and it basically just looks out at what capital expenditures are coming up for the city. And it's not in any way a one of the keys of it is that it doesn't tie the city to any spending when it's eventually approved. It just allows city leadership really to have a guide so they can start thinking about planning out major expenditures that might require the city to incur debt, things like that. So, for example, a new police station is in there, but it's still 4 or 5 years out, and so it's not something they're saying we're going to build this that year, but it's saying, hey, this is coming up, could potentially be this year, but it's going to happen sometime soon, and so let's start planning how we're going to balance our other expenditures. So the mayor proposed his CIP earlier this year, and Tuesday night was a chance for the public to weigh in on that. And you had, I think, four people came and spoke, and none with all on very specific projects that were in their neighborhoods or in their areas that they had concerns about. And so now what happens in the process is the council can submit amendment proposals for the CIP to change what the mayor had, and those are due next week. and then will be posted online in early July, I believe is the plan, so everyone can see those. And then at a meeting in July, the public will have another chance to weigh in on the council's amendment proposals. So they can kind of say, yes, we like this change, or don't like this proposed change. And then that same night, the council will likely vote and approve a CIP. And so that will then guide the budget for the first year. So expenditures for 2019 will set a baseline for the 2019 budget proposal. But again, it doesn't lock in any spending, and all of it can be changed during the budget process later this year.
And we like to call it the roadmap here. That's the way we look at it as staff.
That's a great way to put it.
It's the roadmap to the spending and proposed projects here that staff, alders, and residents, working together to keep the city moving forward. Right, works good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Last but not least, got a little bit of time here for the Fish Hatch senior apartment.
Yeah. So. One of the earlier items in the agenda was about some senior housing up on Fish Hatchery Road near City Campus, actually, a little up the road from that. And the question actually was just whether to refer it out to committee to go through the process of, looking at whether the city should approve it or not. And the discussion turned into really something that's, I think, been on the council's mind a lot this year and has come up quite a few times. But the value of rental housing versus owner-occupied housing. And the discussion that was had Tuesday night was really about whether the city just has too many apartments and too many renter-occupied units. And you had alders kind of just, especially from District 3, Dan Carpenter and Aaron Richardson, who have said they hear a lot from their constituents that we're just seeing too many apartments, and a lot of the action is happening in their district, so they have a lot of concern. Some of the other alders kind of maintained that, yes, there's these concerns and we need to consider it, but said, let's get this proposal into the process, and then we can see if they're proposing something that's worth doing, or whether at that point, once it goes through the commission structure and everything, we decide whether or not to continue with it at that point. And it ended up being a 4-4 tie. And so ties are always fun. That brings the mayor into it, and he has to cast a tie-breaking vote. So he ended up voting to allow the item to go to committee. So that proposal, it was, I'm forgetting the exact number, senior unit it would be, but it would add a couple buildings to Fish Hatchery Road up a little south of City Campus. And so that'll be going to committee and commission and still be discussed here going forward.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on it. And, of course, you can catch all of the meetings here, not only get an update from Scott at the newspaper, but here at Fact TV. We cover all these meetings for Scott and for the residents of Fitchburg to make sure you can see everything that's going on in these committees and whatnot. Scott, I appreciate the time as always. Stay safe out there, and look forward to having you back in a few weeks.
Thanks. Great to talk with you. Have a happy Father's Day weekend.
You do as well. All right. That's Scott Girard, Fitchburg Star. He's just a great guy. You got to meet him. You just say hi to him when you're out at events. He's good. All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll wrap up the show next. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.